I'm here today with Mr. Jim Carkner. I'm pretty pumped about this. Jim just came back from Wodapalooza. If you don't know Wodapalooza, that's basically a CrossFit event within the overall CrossFit season, and finished second in the 50 plus, right, Jim?
50 to 54.
50 to 54, yeah. And one of the other things I'm pumped about is Jim isn't just a professional athlete, though he's competing at a professional athlete's level in the 50 to 54. He's a family man. He's a financial advisor, and he's still got a lot of stuff going on in his life beyond just the getting his workouts on a regular basis. So Jim, can you give me a quick background? I know you were a Green Beret, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how did you get your whole fitness experience going here?
Yeah, I mean, quick background is I was a high school, primarily I did track and field and wrestling. Went to Wazoo, walked on, ended up on scholarship. Ended up taking sixth in the Pac-10 my senior year in the 400 meters, which was awesome. I never really thought I would compete that well, but 4 years of hard work, you can really make some progress. And then I ended up after college joining the Army and spent 6 years there. And since then I've been a financial advisor with Edward Jones. And sometime after the Army, as my pants started getting tight for the first time in my life, this would be 20 years ago, 18 years ago, I realized I was going to have to figure out something to do to figure out a routine to maintain some kind of physical health and condition. And I first got started swinging kettlebells, watching Pavel's videos, and thought that was great to do it at home with minimal equipment. And then I don't remember when I first found out about the CrossFit Journal, and there were no CrossFit gyms in Ellensburg at the time. And started fooling around with some of their workouts at home. And that's the background.
Gotcha. So you've kind of always been into athletics, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. If you're running in the Pac-10, you got to be pretty legit. If you're finishing in the top 10 of anything, you got to be really legit. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good times, hard work, and the pain and suffering I had there that I endured. When you have really pushed yourself, it's easier to do the next time. You say, I've seen this before. I can survive this. That definitely helped in the Army.
So how long do you think what was the time frame from, say, you finished the Army, become a financial advisor, and as far as when you were like, man, you're in the Army, you got to be a Green Beret, you got to be active, right? You got to be fit.
Yeah.
And then you come out of there. Is that like a couple years, a couple months? What are we talking there?
Yeah, I would say there's probably 18 months, 2 years where I was trying to, I was a civilian, and for the first time basically in my life, I didn't have organized, fitness program. Where, in track and field, you show up and you have someone telling you what to do. You got a coach running your life, and so I just have to show up and work. And then the Army is similar. We did, some of us did some weightlifting and things on the side, but generally, first thing we do in the Army, I think, and everyone from administrative people to elite operators start the day with physical training. So, and then when I left the Army, I had nothing, and started a business, family, a bunch of young kids, and without a routine, it was hard. So I did work out sporadically during that time, but I'd work out just enough to get over the soreness, and then something would distract you, and then 3 weeks later you're ground zero again, getting all sore, from doing a few push-ups or whatever. And and as my pants, I'd never had tight pants before. That wasn't a thing, and all of a sudden I'm finding it hard to put some pants, and I'm like, wow, this is not happening. I got to make a plan and a routine and get to work. And I would say, by the way, I did learn. I think experts would agree. I learned pretty quickly too that this exercise wasn't going to do it. I had to, watch what I was eating. I started kind of eating some typical American snacky foods, a little too many tortilla chips, and you can't outwork that stuff. You have to, you got to eat got to eat wisely.
That's good wisdom right there. It's good wisdom. You kind of have to do the whole meal deal if you want the whole meal body.
Yeah.
So when you were starting, you went through your Green Beret, you become a financial advisor. You're like, oh man, I got to get myself back together here. What's going on? Where you were basically just learning new techniques, new fitness routines.
Yeah.
You kind of just started from ground zero, almost. It sounds like, as far as just like finding out, okay, what works for me, what I like, kind of thing.
Yeah. The kettlebell is awesome because all you need is one piece of equipment and you can do it anywhere. You can throw it in the car with you and take it to a hotel, and you add some other body weight things, some squats and burpees and push-ups, and you can stay in pretty good shape. The excuse of not having a gym at hand just isn't valid.
Yeah. And would you say that you were so you think you got into kind of like CrossFit-ish stuff? Wait, how long ago do you think?
Um, well, I don't know. I would guess I started looking at the CrossFit Journal in 2008 or 9 or something like that. And I'm not sure when I think the gym in Ellensburg opened in 2012, and I still had kids at home, high school kids, and my son, one of my boys, was interested in doing CrossFit. So he actually started going to the gym before I did. He wanted to do it to get in better shape, for high school wrestling and so on. And
Gotcha.
at that point, I was still thinking, man, it's a lot of money to pay to just go to the gym and I can work out at home. But boy, I watched how much fun everyone was having at the CrossFit gym and competing with each other. And I knew that I was going to have a great time if I went in there. And sure enough, it's pretty much, extended family there now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because you didn't really, I mean, say like a lot of the movements you do in CrossFit are kind of unique in a way, as far as just not the average, gym you go into is doing, snatches or power cleans, or I mean, really even doing a bunch of barbell work. Mostly it's, Nautilus machines and life extension machines and that kind of thing. So
Right.
I think one thing that often gets people, especially if you're just starting and you're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, you're 60 years old, is like, man, I have no clue what these people are doing. What is going on here? I can never do any of that stuff. But as is true, I would say pretty much 100% across the board, unless you grew up as an Olympic lifter, you're from China and that's what you've been bred to do or something. It's like nobody's done any of this kind of stuff.
That's right.
And everybody's just walking in new. And is that your case as well?
100%. Even as a collegiate athlete, we unfortunately, I wish we would have done more Olympic lifting, but we did fool around with it. I mean, we had basically power cleans. I think would be the only lift that that I routinely saw on the I'd get a sheet, of weightlifting, go on weightlifting days, and pretty much we're on our own to do the weightlifting. And since I didn't really know what I was doing on the cleans, I quite frankly just kind of went through the motions and never did really lift much weight and probably get a lot of value out of it. So
gotcha.
Certainly never learned it well. And continuing to be a student of the clean, it's in the snatch I still haven't mastered. So here I am, maybe among the highest level CrossFitters in my age group in the world, and I'm still just working really hard at figuring out those Olympic lifts, which are fun, So I would say to anybody who's getting started, walks into a gym and sees people doing those movements, especially with any kind of weight, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
And when you pick up just the empty barbell and you try to do a snatch and you think, man, I can't even make that shape. Yeah, you're right. You're going to have a lot of work to do. You're going to have to spend a lot of time doing mobility, and probably have to do it if you're 40 and you're getting started, you're going to have to do a lot of mobility work, I would guess.
Yeah.
For 98% of us, right? Anyway, I just, you get started, and I can even, in fact, when I started, I couldn't do an overhead squat at all. I didn't have the mobility in my thoracic, anywhere from my ankles to my hips and thoracic and shoulders. I couldn't do it at all. And so it took quite a few. It wasn't until I decided I wanted to compete at this that I realized I would have to get serious about gaining the range of motion.
Yeah.
To be able to do those movements. So anyway, that was the prerequisite for even really starting to learn the lifts.
You're saying as you going into competition, or
Yeah,
thinking
just
you want to be in competition?
well, when I decided a couple of years ago that I wanted to go into competition, it became clear. Well, my biggest weaknesses would have been a couple of the gymnastic skills, like walking on my hands, and then the Olympic lift, specifically the snatch. And it basically wasn't even possible to work on the snatch because I couldn't even make the shape of a snatch without hurting my shoulder. So I had to just commit to getting some help on mobility and learn some, a little routine that basically would do them all the time. What do you know? I was able to. It's still a battle if I don't stretch or exercise for a few days. If I take a couple of days off, I go back in there and everything's tightened back up. I guess it's because we spend a lot of time in this position,
Sure.
and everything gets tight again. So
yeah. I mean, so you're, say, at age 45, are you 50 or 51 right now?
51.
You're 51. So say age 45, and now you're 51. Would you say you're fitter, stronger, more capable at 51 versus 45, or some things you are, some things you aren't? Or
yeah, I mean, that's kind of a cool thing about doing this organized fitness. We have all the measurements, right? I mean, I deadlift more, I snatch more, I can do more handstand push-ups, I can do more ring. I'm not sure I could beat 45-year-old Jim in, say, distance running.
Mm-hmm.
And that may just be because I haven't put the time in on it. I definitely could run better a few years ago, but yeah.
But your collective capacity, you think, is better now than it was at 45?
It most certainly is, yeah. So, and Matt, I don't want to jump ahead. I was looking at the questions we were going to talk about, but if I have a goal going forward, it's to see how, there's got to be an age where it's not possible to maintain some level of strength or endurance or power. But what makes me excited about working out is seeing how long I can continue to improve and at least hold the line. Can I be doing it right now at 60, 68? I don't know. Find out. That's some.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge, because I think a lot of people, we've been kind of told or taught that it's like, you retire at this age, you slow down, it's just like everything just kind of, you give up on life kind of. So we don't even really know. I mean, we are seeing some of these masters athletes that are, 68, 69, 70. I was like, oh my goodness, look at these guys are doing. This is crazy. Look at where they're lifting. But I think, we're going to find out, especially with, guys like you, that it's like, you've been doing this and you have that attitude and that mindset. It's like, whoa, man, literally, what is going to be happening? We're going to see, like, whoa, you could do way more than we thought was possible. And, what used to be 40-year-old guys doing is now 60-year. This is kind of the standard if you want to be on the upper echelon for the 60-year-old, or is what's possible for the 60-year-old.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've thought about it. I don't know this, but it seems to me that most of the people who are 60 doing CrossFit now started just like me. I mean, CrossFit just was invented basically, first games in 2012. So none of us have been doing this our whole lives because it didn't exist, right? But I just wonder if the current 60-year-olds, if they had been doing this for 20 years, where they would be. Yeah, so I do think that, people my age and the current 55-year-olds are going to be capable of more than the current 60-year-olds because we've been doing it longer. I think I would guess most of the 60-year-olds would say they're fitter than they were 10 years ago. Because they've been doing this. I'm talking about the competitive 60-year-olds who are, at Wodapalooza and the CrossFit Games and things. So
so Jim, what's a general, like, week look like for you related to your fitness routine, and then coupled with, you got family, you got work, all that? What's that look like?
Well, it's not a very good balance right now because to do this competitively, it's not exactly the model for longevity and just health. I'm way beyond the level of trying to be healthy. But, in fact, well, given that my shoulder is banged up and my knees kind of hurt, that's exactly what I mean. I don't plan on doing it at this level of intensity indefinitely, but the routine looks like at least 3 or 4 days a week. I work out in the morning for an hour or two. That doesn't mean I'm like working hard for 2 hours, but like I was mentioning, the mobility, I need a good 40 minutes, 50 minutes just to get fully loosened up most days, you know. So I go in and get on some equipment, a rower or a air bike, echo bike, and have a few intervals and run through a bunch of mobilizations basically to get limbered up. And then I do some, you know, weightlifting and a cardio session in the morning, and then usually in the afternoon maybe a little bit more lifting and a metcon. And I've been on a basically Monday is my off day, and then Thursday is sort of a light day where maybe I do some just some steady state, you know, 30 minute to an hour you know, what zone 2 heart rate kind of exercise, or swim, running. I like to sometimes, for the sake of variety, just move between machines to do some different movements instead of, you know, grinding away running for that long. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would say are the hardest days. And I've went to the Saturday, working out on Saturday and Sunday because I have the time, and then it's easier with work during the
Gotcha.
week. So yeah, so I have the two Mondays complete a day completely off, and then Thursdays, like I say, just one session of some cardio. And anyway,
so then you're basically working at you're working out, but you're working on your financial advising part in between.
Yeah,
those workout sessions during the week.
8:30 in the morning, I'm done, and you know, I'm going and eating and heading to work, and then, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, I would like to be back in the gym, but sometimes, frequently this fall, I find myself, you know, not getting in there until, and sometimes because of my gym at Ellensburg CrossFit has been super helpful to my training. You know, they've allowed me to work out even during CrossFit classes, which, you know, if you're around CrossFit, you know, usually during the class, it's just the class. And, but, you know, sometimes in the classes are full and they're using all the equipment. I just have to wait. So end up
Gotcha.
kind of later nights sometimes. Getting out of there at 8:30. Yeah, which makes it tough to go home and eat and get wound down and cooled off so you can sleep.
And you were mentioning earlier before we got on here about how the you know, the kind of need to do the whole meal deal as far as your food, your fitness, your sleep, your, you know, all that. You're trying to keep all that dialed in to make sure your body's functioning ideally here.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and thanks to you, you know, I've come to see you and consulted with you about this topic, and I found that at this age, it's probably true when you're younger, it's just not as obvious. If I'm not eating enough or eating high quality foods, getting enough sleep, I couldn't even, if I went out to dinner just and had restaurant food and had one glass of wine, there is no way, I'm on the verge of getting hurt the next day. I don't know what the heck it is with the data on your watch shows that you didn't sleep as well, and your heart rate variability is messed up. And I basically have to take a light day if I did that. So basically don't drink alcohol anymore. And I mean, I'm trying to do everything from I don't even drink water out of plastic bottles, right? I have titanium and stainless, you know, containers that I bring my water and mix my, you know, amino acids and hydration powders and things to the gym with, right? So
it's good stuff.
Trying to do all the things, and the list of them is long, you know, books full of them. But
so
I think
and it sounds like you were saying that earlier that you found it really valuable to have the say Ellensburg CrossFit, the community atmosphere. That's been a big encouragement and a big support for you.
Yeah, and you know, as I got started in CrossFit, I didn't have a plan of competing at it. I didn't even know that was a thing really when I started. It was just a way to to have a sort of competitive, supportive environment, sort of like the Army. You go in there and compete against your peers, in the morning. It makes it a little easier to work out, to really push yourself. When you're just in the gym on the equipment by yourself, if you don't kind of feel it that day, it's easier to go through the motions. Whereas when your buddy, who you usually are even with, or maybe you beat him, is pulling ahead of you, it's it's I think for most people, you want to compete, so
Yeah.
you get a little better quality workout. It's just more fun. It's easier.
Totally.
It's easier to work hard in that environment.
I think you're 100%. And would you say for the person like, man, Jim's putting in a lot of work there, that's just kind of wild. I mean, one, you don't have to put, most people don't need to put that work, and would be advisable not to. Like you mentioned, this isn't, you've kind of went over the curve where this is health, peak health opportunity, and you're on this side of like, all right, I just gotta do everything I can to keep my body here because I want to compete. I want to win things. I want to be, see how far I can push my body, kind of thing. Would you say it's been worth it though? Say last going to the gym, just being consistent over and over, for a couple of decades basically, or even longer. Would you say even that's totally been worth it? I would advise it for anybody. I would do it again 100% of the times.
I have no regrets about any of it, and obviously I probably wouldn't be training like this to compete if I didn't enjoy it. But I would advise people to do that, just like doing a marathon or anything hard. I mean, if you want to do it, great. Just know if you want to be successful and not get injured, I mean, you're going to need to really, I think if you're this age and you were trying to train for a marathon, it would be the exact same thing. If you were trying to drink some alcohol and eat poorly and not sleep well, I mean, you're probably getting hurt. You're not getting more fit. You're digging a hole. So, yeah, I think well, as far as the healthy part of this, most of the people who do CrossFit go and they spend 1 hour there. That's it. They show up, the class starts, they warm up, they work out, and they leave. And I think you can walk in the gym and look at them, and you can see that works. They're healthy and they're fit people, and I would say, I'll just say that the people who aren't, that don't look that fit but have been doing CrossFit for a while, they need to do something different with their diet. They're trying to outwork a diet that's not working. They're putting in the work, the right kind of exercise and so on, to get as fit as can be and have a good looking human physique. But if they're not getting the results, you gotta look at what they're doing out of the gym.
No, totally. I mean, food is such a huge deal. It's such a huge deal. So, Jim, going forward this year, so you finished Wodapalooza. Now we got the CrossFit Opens coming up. I mean, it's like about a month away. And then is your goal this year are you trying to shoot for the CrossFit Games? Is that the idea?
Yep, it's been my big goal, and I just I've competed at some fairly high levels before, like in college, and I thought it was a pretty safe bet that in order to have a shot at, say, making the podium at the games, you probably couldn't just show up there having not really competed at this. And sure enough, the last couple of years I've been to Wodapalooza twice, and just went to the Legends competition in December. And you learn a lot, about how to compete in CrossFit. And you never know. You don't know what you're going to learn, right, when you show up. But you definitely are learning things that you'll need to know if you're going to try to actually win CrossFit Games. Because if you look at all the people who are there, they've all done the same thing. They've been competing for multiple years. And so that's the big goal. So the Open comes up next month, and if I can get the shoulder and knee healthy, and one cool thing they've done, with the Masters competition. Last year they only took 10 per age group to the games. I ended up taking 13th in the semifinal, and so didn't make it. This year, I guess they're taking 30. Okay. So so that totally changes the season. I don't probably need to train. Last year I trained as if the semifinal was the end of the season, because it's make it or break it, right?
Yeah.
But this year I feel like I can be, well, first of all, I'm in better shape than last year, and I have another year of experience under my belt, and like I can sort of train to peak at the games. Probably I will be in good enough shape to make the top 30 without really training specifically for the semifinal. So
nice.
It's kind of cool.
Dude, that's gonna be awesome, Jim. I'm looking forward to it. Seeing you knock that baby off. Because I'm trying to the Masters Games is gonna be where this year?
Well, it's a funny question. We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Okay. Yeah.
So I wasn't going to talk about this, but yeah, the last several years, I don't know, half a dozen years, the CrossFit Games have been the first week in August in Madison. Well, my son wants to get married, and he and his fiance were going to get married the first week of August. And my wife and I said, hey, weddings are more important, but your dad's been working towards the school. Do you think we could have the wedding, shortly before or after? They said, no problem. How about third week of August? And they scheduled a place, and it was great. And then it wasn't but a few weeks later when CrossFit announces that they're moving the dates for the Masters, and they still have not. They don't have a venue, and we don't know. Well, I know that they're shooting for the third week of August.
Seriously? Oh my goodness.
And so it's really painful, but if that's when it is, I guess I'll hang it up. And there's no point in training like this when I'm not going to go to the competition, right? So
yeah.
Oh, if that when we get the date, I will either. So I'm going to keep training as if it's happening until we get a date and a venue. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Those weddings are once in a lifetime. So.
Yeah, you'd be. Yeah, it's pretty. Probably no excuse for not showing up to your kid's wedding.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, other than hospitalization,
right.
Military service hospitalization is probably so.
All right, Jim. So, man, please enjoy that sun you got behind you. We don't have that here in Washington right now. Jim is actually from Ellensburg, Washington, but he's enjoying some nice weather in the tropics. Jim, anything else you want to mention? You would want to say to anybody out there? You would want to express to any fellows who are in your same 50, 51, 52, 49, trying to get in?
I have one thing. My wife rolls her eyes anytime I start to talk about it, because she's heard it for years and years now. But I think a lot of people, when they decide, hey, I want to eat well, I'm going to be healthy, so they start, and they think that they're eating well, but there is one food item that I think just slips into people's diets and don't even know, and it is the seed oils, vegetable oils. And I read a book called Deep Nutrition by Dr. Catherine Shanahan, and I've read lots. I've read volumes. I've listened to podcasts about nutrition. I think that book is one of the best starts that anybody could ever have if you want to really know how to eat and be healthy.
Yeah.
And you got to get the seed oils out.
Jim, because you had an interesting experience, right? When you finally literally kind of went completely blank on those.
Yeah.
As far as some injuries and stuff.
Yeah, I was having some. I don't even remember what they were, at this point. But tendonitis in my chronic tendonitis. Achilles. That's right. In fact, I came to see you about it, or at least we talked about it when I first met with you, and that was right about the time that I had read the book and really cut the seed oils out. And it's hard to know if that was the thing that dealt with it, because I was also simultaneously starting to realize that tight hips means usually your calves.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. So, but what I know now is, I would say to anybody, if you start getting, it's a real hassle to cut vegetable oils, because you basically can't eat out at all. You can't have a French fry. You can't have most tortilla chips. There's some out there you can get that are made in beef tallow, and avocado oil is second best. But after a month of absolutely avoiding seed oils, I didn't feel all that much different, which was really disappointing. I was hoping to feel, 5 years younger and growing like a younger man with testosterone up and all that. I didn't feel that great, but you go back and eat a French fry, you'll know that you're feeling better because I mean, aches and pains, sore elbows, some pimples and things that I just don't have anymore show up instantly when I
Wow.
touch that stuff. And I think most of us, when you're eating that normal American diet that includes that, you're living with whatever that condition of inflammation and arthritic. Oh, I'm older. I'm 50. That's why my elbows hurt, my wrist hurts. Maybe, probably because of what you're eating.
Yeah. Man, listen to Jim here. This is good stuff. This is good preaching. I love it. Makes all the difference in the world right there.
Yeah. It's a hard sell for people. It's hard to change your habits, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah. So, you're living proof, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, Jim, man. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on here.
Good talking to you.
Thanks for time at the games coming up. Unless your son's wedding, then we pull on for a great wedding.
Then maybe, put this games thing off. I hate to throw in the towel on any goal, but maybe I'll just have to sit out a year and come back with all the knowledge and experience I have and make another run.
So, exactly.